Kyle here from All Media Reviews. My friend Josh Runquist and his podcast, Heavy Debriefings, do like a top 10 list every week in their podcast. Him and his his co-host, the Metal Fairy, and they did top 10 TV series recently, and I thought I would do one of my own. I might do a top 10 movies, and I did a longer video, which was like 30 plus TV shows, and I'm not going to do that again because I had some issues with that video. So I'm just going to go over a top 10 and honorable mentions. So I'm just going to just show stuff. I'm not going to really talk a lot about them because I don't want it to turn into being a 45-minute video. So, all right. So yeah, that's what I'll just do. Honorable mentions, long list. It's like 20 some honorable mentions. Undeclared, Judd Apatow show. Party Down, Rob Thomas show. Firefly, Joss Whedon, of course, and Nathan Fillion. And this is again. There's shows on this list I should mention that aren't going to be mentioned that I'd probably include later. Eli Stone, lawyer show. Miniseries called Daybreak with Taye Diggs. Great show, great miniseries. Pushing Daisies. Brian Fuller, his third show. The Lost Room on Sci-Fi Channel. Wonder Falls, Carolyn DeVernus, Lee Pace, Brian Fuller show. Conspiracy show from the 90s, Dark Skies, which includes Jerry Ryan who went on to Star Trek Voyager. Eric Close. Let's see here. The Good Guys, Colin Hanks and Bradley Whitford, short-lived show on Fox Network 2010. Great show. V, the Mark Singer, Robert Englund show from the early 80s. Rubicon, great show on AMC that was on like the second or third season, after the third season of Breaking Bad. Great conspiracy think tank show. Didn't get renewed. Let's see here. Where is it? I probably have it in my hand. No, I don't have it. I had it in my hand and I don't have it now. Oh, I must have done something else with it. Well, I have unless it's in my hand. It's not in my hand. Now and Again, I had the DVD and I did something with it. Eric Close and oh, here it is. Eric Close again. Dennis Haysbert, short-lived show from the late 90s on CBS. Star Trek: The Next Generation, number 25. Not 25. Lost, The Expanse, The Outer Limits. Let's see, Dead Like Me, two-season show on Showtime Network with Ellen Muth, who kind of looks like Janis Joplin. Another Brian Fuller show. A lot of good names. Mandy Patinkin among them in that. Stranger Things, even though it's not done. MASH. Forever Night, the vampire cop show with Jarrett Wynn Davies and Nigel Bennett, a bunch of other people, Deborah Duchenne. Very romantic, very kind of luring vampire cop show, buddy cop show from the 90s. Forever Night. Veronica Mars, also an honorable mention. Great show from the mid to late 2000s with Kristen Bell, Enrique Calatoni. They did a movie and, of course, a miniseries later. Better Call Saul, of course, just ended a couple of years ago. Bob Odenkirk, great prequel from Breaking Bad. Freaks and Geeks, also not making the top 10, but it was only on 19 episodes. Fantastic show, fantastic cast. Very much I discovered, like a lot of people later. I got the book and everything. Three's Company, a show that I fell back in love with during COVID with John Ritter. Battlestar Galactica, the revival. I like the original too, but the revival is the one I kind of lean toward more with Edward James Olmos and Katie Sackhoff. Family Ties, of course, Michael J. Fox, Michael Gross, a lot of other great sitcom from the 80s, of course. Let's see, where is my... And so just missing the top 10. It's right here. Great, I mean, it's like splitting hairs, of course. Babylon 5. Great show from J. Michael Straczynski from the 90s. A couple movies they did, and they just did an animated movie. The spin-off, of course, was Crusade, which is also good. The original Star Trek. So here's the top 10. The original Star Trek is number 10. Number 9, Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. I'm a sucker from the original Bugs Bunny cartoons with so many of those sketches when I was a kid. Number 8, the Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone, the Rod Serling Twilight Zone from the late 50s and early to mid 60s. That's number 8. Number 7, Gilmore Girls, a favorite of mine. It's more than just a teen drama. A lot of pop culture referencing and comedic takes and fast talking and funny plots, funny characters. You know, the Michelle character, the Kirk character, the Mrs. Kim, Lane. So many characters I loved in this show. And Lauren Graham was never better. Palladino's never did anything better. Even though the last season the Palladinos jumped ship and it wasn't quite as good, but I did enjoy the whatever, A Year in the Life miniseries they did a few years ago. Number 7. Number 6, Breaking Bad, of course. You know, Bryan Cranston's sort of coming out party after Malcolm in the Middle. You know, Vince Gilligan, Aaron Paul. It's become a foundation, a massive sort of iconic show of the last 20 years. So that's number 6. Number 5, Psych, a show that I loved. I did a podcast about with a friend. You know, the first 4 or 5 seasons especially were hilarious. The pop culture references, James Roday, Dule Hill, Lassiter, the Pineapple, Little Sean, Little Gus, the flashbacks, the musical psych outs. There were so many things I loved about this show. It was a tradition on Friday nights for a few years there when we would watch it and do the podcast. And I know it was basically like a satire or not a parody exactly, but kind of satirical, crime solving of like CSI or NCIS in some ways. But I still think that Deadpool owes something to Psych, even though the comics came a little bit before that. And then Psych owes something to Fletch. So number 4, The Big Bang Theory, total pop culture foundation of the last 20 years, especially the Sheldon character, especially the first 5-6 seasons. The geek culture is just off the charts. It was such one of the most rewatchable shows in the history of television for me the last couple decades. Number 4. Number 3, Beavis and Butthead. I'm including the new series, I suppose, and then attach that the movies, and that the revival in the late 2010, 2011, whenever it was, 2012, and of course the original run. Dumb humor done really cleverly. Let me show these other shows. Reaper and Loop are two more honorable mentions to Loop, but so yeah, number 4, number 3 rather. Number 2, Cheers, show I grew up on. I'd watch it at 10:35 every night on our NBC affiliate. Just highly quotable. Woody, Coach, Sam, Norm, Cliff. There's too many memorable anecdotes and lines from that show not to have it that high. And of course, number 1, what got me into sci-fi was very therapeutic, very cathartic, sort of escapist show for me. Star Trek DC9 made me a Trekkie. Just the story arc, the premise, Cisco, Dax, Odo, Quark's bar. This is my favorite show of all time. It kind of definitely is like a very surreal, kind of like Marillion's Brave, surreal experience watching that and sort of being sucked in. Even though the last season I was sad that Terry Farrell left, I did like Nicole DeBoer, but yeah, Deep Space Nine has sort of always been my sort of number 1 sort of high place show. So, what are your top 10 shows of all time? I'd love to see that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like I said, I'm going to try to... Maybe I'll do a top 10 movies soon, too. I mean, that will be harder, but I think I might do is try to elaborate on some of these shows in individual videos at a later time. But again, please subscribe, leave a comment, ring the notification bell. We'll see you next time.